Alright guys, Tactical here, and it's that time of week again. The weekend tournaments have concluded, the 2Ks are over, and this week we got a very special tournament which I believe will be continuing here on out by Checkmate Gaming CMG called the Pro-down, $2,500, and a lot of teams use this as an alternative to playing in the 2K, as Aches has talked a lot about it, and other professionals as well, how, they see it's a bit of a problem, the fact that they have to effectively waste a load of their time playing a load of these really low tier amateur teams to make it through to the proper matches of the tournament. So effectively here they cut out all of those matches, or at least the majority of them, to only play against the top competition. And it was a best of 7 format in the winners bracket, a best of 5 in the losers bracket. So a lot of great practice for the pro teams here. And I think fans on the whole found this much more enjoyable to watch than watching the pointless rounds of the 2K, you could say. So firstly, got to give something of a thanks to Aches for this. He said that he was part of the creation of this tournament, working with CMG, so they get top practice. Obviously, a little bit of a spoiler here, they lost to Splice in Game 5, but we'll get into that down the line. Firstly, I wanted to give you a quick sneak peek at tomorrow's video. I'm not sure you can see the whole of this on screen, so I'll kind of zoom out until you can. Maybe that'll be good enough. These are the pods for CWL Las Vegas pool play, and they're doing the draw tomorrow. So tomorrow's video, or maybe I'll make it on Thursday depending how busy I am. I should be able to do it. Actually, tomorrow will probably be really late at night, so it'll probably have to be Thursday. But anyway, these are the pools for Vegas. So these are the pods. Effectively, one of these teams will go into each pool in the first slot. One of these teams will go into each pool in the second slot. So Envy versus OpTic can't be in the same pool. And then this will be the situation for the third slot. And then this is the play-in tournament that will happen the day prior to the event. So look forward to that, I guess. So firstly, before we go into the CMG stuff, let's talk through the 2Ks very briefly. So this is the European one. I guess we can start here. Heretics win it again, back-to-back weeks. Now, they didn't have as much competition this year. We do have Team Sween that won it the first week, still looking like a solid squad. I'm not even sure Brain was on the team in the first week, so I think maybe he's not on the team, and they've done some switcheroo here because there wasn't the full squads for this matchup by any means. We look at Reciprocity, Wuskin, Tommy, Denz, Shane, who's their coach, and PT from the Mad Cat team, which I believe they didn't play this week. That's because Zed was having some issues getting his visa sorted out, so a lot of the pros were focusing on getting that sorted for when they move out to Vegas in the next week or so. I believe they're moving out to the States, Reciprocity and Red Reserve. So Shane was standing in, PT also as well, and I believe Wuskin sat the finals out and Shawnee played instead. So Heretics didn't have as much competition this week, but definitely put on another strong performance. Back-to-back 2Ks is no mean feat at all, so I'm interested to see what they can do at Vegas. Let's have a look at the Asia Pacific region. Tainted Mind to win it. This is actually a big shock to me, to be honest. I guess Tainted Minds and Mindfreak over the years have been pretty close online, but Mindfreak, they always seem to come out on top, and they lost the first 2K largely, well, supposedly largely because of they were hungover from Naked's wedding or something like that. But Tainted Minds win it again this week. They won 3-2 in the grand finals to take home all the marbles. And really interesting, how much of Mindfreak got worse given Denz's departure over to Reciprocity, and will this Luca kid live up to the hype, I guess, as we go down the line. So then we'll go into the North American 2K. Spacely's team won this. They didn't play in the CMG tournament. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. So they ended up taking home the $2,000. No one else that you'd really expect to do anything here apart from this big Pelican squad. Also, Killer's team is up there as well. So there are some decent names in here, but none of the top tier teams, as they are all playing in this CMG tournament for much better practice, and they don't need the pro points, Someone like Spacely's team, the pro points could come in handy for people like them, as if you look at the list of 5v5 teams, so these are the confirmed teams for pools. The top 8 teams were invited to the CMG tournament, excluding Red Reserve, of course, because they're, still in Europe. So it was the top 8 teams down to G2, and Spacely's team is all the way down here in 23rd in pro points. So they didn't get invited to the CMG, but they also didn't want to play in the qualifiers to get into that tournament because, they'd be playing similarly low tier teams and they'd play in the 2K, and they didn't get the opportunity to get the pro points. At least that was Spacely's perspective that he said on Twitter. So they end up winning this. You might think, damn, Parasite's team, top 8, but they had actually played Spacely's team in the quarters here, so I think they'd have done better if they hadn't have got the unfortunate bracket. But Spacely's team's still looking very, very strong indeed, and I think they'll make pools at Vegas no problem on this current form. Let's have a look at the CMG tournament then, baby. OpTic Gaming win it again, taking their overall map count, I believe, in 2Ks and this tournament to 74 in 4, something like that. They lost a couple maps here or there, but a couple, like, what can you say about that? 100 Thieves comes second. You know, it's the same prize breakdown as the 2K, which is nice. 100 Thieves comes second, looking a lot better. I'm going to make a video, I think, on pros streaming scrims, and that's something that 100 Thieves has stopped doing. I think Kenny's been streaming some stuff, but they've stopped streaming scrims for the time being, because it's a tongue twister, for the time being at least. So they can focus on their communication and making sure that they can say everything they want to say about what just happened in the map without worrying about it being on stream or anything like that. At least that's part of the concern. So they're looking a lot better here. Spice come third, a team that I definitely think is pretty underrated. Looking really good online. And LG looking a lot better as well, coming fourth in this tournament. And E United and Envy come top 6, and then you have Illy, Cillium, and Sim coming top 8 as well. Obviously, they're considered largely onliners. Onyx, maybe, and like Paul, or whatever, the other guys in the team. But Cillium, Illy, and Sim, the other names in the team, these guys are going to be superstars when they come of age. Simp and Cillium are 18 at some point this year. I believe Cillium and Simp are both 18 by February time, and it's going to be another year for Illy, but, you know, these guys are crazy talented. FaZe had a pretty bad run of things as well, and G2 are not looking good either. So let's have a look down a little further. So effectively how this worked, as I said, the top 8 teams from Pro Points, they got invited to this tournament, and then there was a qualifier tournament for the other teams to qualify that you could or could not play in. Evil Geniuses decided to play this, but they didn't have very much fun, placing top 12 as well. So let's have a look through the bracket. Best of 7 matches. So OG Spice comfortably come through the first one. FaZe beat EG before being taken out by United, which, you know, United's a very solid squad. They end up coming top 6, but definitely a good team, and probably OG's best contender, at least before this tournament. The OpTic United series was actually very close, and what people were saying, well, okay, it was 4-1, and some of the maps weren't close, but a lot of them were very competitive. 4-1, people were saying maybe flooded OpTic a little bit. United were very competitive in that series. LG looking a lot better here. They actually go game 7 with Envy, who got past Simp's team 4-2 here, which you would expect. You know, these guys, not as much experience playing Respawn, but in Search and Destroy, you'd expect them to definitely be very solid. And Cillium, Illy, and Simp, man, they're unbelievably talented. Cillium has impressed me so much. Simp was probably my favourite player to watch on Black Ops 3, and Illy just has this unbelievable movement. You can actually learn so much from watching him play. And then Envy get taken out by 100 Thieves here. They lost maps along the way. People have been saying they're really not very good at hardpoint at all, but their control is super good. And control's kind of grown on me. There were some entertaining matches in this tournament here. And, you know, control, I still don't like it that much. I definitely think there needs to be a good overtime system, because right now just flicking back and forth is not competitive at all, gives no advantage to the team that was the better one over the 4 rounds they played. But regardless, it's definitely growing on me to some extent. So 100 Thieves make it all the way through the winners bracket in these best of 7s, and Envy win the only game 7 against LG in that fashion there. So down to the losers. This is a best of 5 losers bracket. FaZe get beaten by Simp's team in a game 5. I think that was like game 5 round 11 maybe. Some of these results haven't been fully recorded because the website was kind of messing up. So a lot of these from the great guys at COD Gamepedia. Proud to call them my colleagues at times, even though I don't really work on this because I don't know what I'm doing, man. The website's too complicated. If you guys want to help with keeping up any of the COD Gamepedia stuff, we're more than happy to do so. If you follow this really closely and you'd like to help with the wiki, just get in contact with me on Twitter. The link to my Twitter's down in the description box below. And yeah, I'll put you in contact with the relevant people so you can help out with these sort of things. So a lot of these are from like word of mouth, asking the pros what the results were, because it was difficult to tell from the website. Splice ended up beating MV in a game 5 here, and LG make it past G2 and EG. So LG looking a lot better in this tournament, at least. I definitely weight actual tournament play over scrims for sure. And they 3-0 E United. If that's a legitimate scoreline, I'm very impressed indeed with LG if that's the case. They should be really good. And of course, that's LG against Cap. Like, this is going to be a huge rivalry I talked about in the video a while ago into the upcoming season. So that's a spicy one. And then you move on. Splice take out LG down. They're winning their game 5 Search and Destroyers, which is impressive from Splice. To be honest, it's something you'd expect with accuracy on the team for sure. And then 100T take out Splice and play OpTic in a grand final. So 100 Thieves, they took a map off OpTic the first time they played in the winners final. And then in the grand finals, they got 4-0'd. I think this was actually a pretty close matchup. Some of the matchups weren't that close, but the Control, I think 100 Thieves are very competitive with OpTic. And, you know, we know the story with OpTic Gaming right now. They're crushing everyone. So, like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new. And I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on this down in the comments below. OpTic stretched their map count to 74 in 4 over the 3 weekends. And as Vegas is approaching, they're definitely the team to beat. Of course, it is online play. I will keep stressing that. But I want to hear whether you guys enjoyed this tournament more than the 2Ks, because I definitely think this is a step forward. And even if you say, okay, you know, the 2K is not as populated, maybe MLG or CWL are going to have some problems with that. Last year, when the Pro League was on, the teams didn't compete in the 2Ks anyway, so I don't think it's a big deal. I think it's great for being able to watch. I really hope we get something like this in Europe, because right now I can't stay awake long enough to watch this. Like, it finished on Monday yesterday, and it started up at midnight my time, and by the time it finished, it'd probably been like 4 or 5 a.m. considering the best of 7 format, or maybe it's a bit earlier than that, but not exactly ideal for us guys in the UK. So I'd like to have something like this over here, obviously, but we'll have to see how it goes down the line. So thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I'll see you next time.